Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
What a great day to be an Aggie. Welcome in, everybody. What A&M did to Notre Dame this weekend is they flipped the script. It felt like usually that's how things play out against the Aggies, but it was the Aggies who broke free for that 72-yard touchdown to tie the game up. It was the Aggies that were able to march down the field in the last 2.5 minutes of the game to take the win. Instead of here we go again, we got a new chapter. They finished that game off with a 13-play, 74-yard touchdown drive. Thank you so much to Nate Berkacher. Olin Buchanan, we're excited to talk some football today.
I don't know that I've ever been more excited to come to work on a Monday. You know, what a big win. Get to relive it again. By
the way, that referee who had to go on Twitter and be a punk.
Terry McAuliffe. Something tells me that Terry might be a domer, or at least...
Something tells me he's a punk. Anyway, I don't know. He might be a gem of a guy. Not like David Gardner's, though. Instant classic, OB.
Yeah, it's an amazing game. You know it's a great game when you return a kickoff for a touchdown that's going to give you the lead.
And you worry about it.
and you're going to be worried. And then there's a flag, and it nullifies it. And so you have a team that could have taken the lead on a kickoff. You know, what's more spectacular than a kickoff return for a touchdown? And then said team doesn't even flinch, just goes right down the field. And then on 4th and 11, I guess, I don't know if if he started a backup tight end transfer who came here with 19 consecutive, career receptions, catches a pass on a play that wasn't supposed to go to him, and he doesn't even see the ball until it's right, almost right on top of him. What an amazing. Look, I would ask you, David.
I ask you why, David Nuño.
Where would that rank in the greatest A&M plays or most memorable A&M plays you've ever seen?
Top 3.
At least.
Right? You got the Sir Parker play.
Okay.
Right? You got that. The Seth Smalls game-winning field goal against Alabama, I guess, is in there, right? I mean, it was the moment overall. Sometimes I don't think about field goals the same way I think about dramatic catches, right? But
because you see field goals as great as it was, you see game-winning field goals quite often.
Yeah, but a 4th and 11 situation. I mean,
4th and 11 at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And what do you always hear about football teams at the beginning of the season? Where they always say a team makes its most improvement from game 1 to game 2. So Notre Dame, this was theoretically, and not only that, they had 2 weeks practice for it, and were at home in a home opener. Everything was against A&M in that situation.
By the way, Notre Dame is good. They really are good. Their quarterback is really good. Their backfield is really good. The defense not as good as I expected, right?
Or maybe the offenses they were facing was just that good.
Well, maybe that's the case, right? But they didn't get after the quarterback in both games against Miami and against A&M. Yeah. They can't stop the pass, and I think part of that has to be credit to Texas A&M. But this game, OB, had everything from a horrendous start. This was eerily similar to so many of the games we saw last year. South Carolina, which they were able to come back. Auburn, which they were able to come back. Mm-hmm. But they could not finish. And I'm so happy that Coach Elko said something that we have said on this show multiple times. I have said this. This has been my line from the beginning. We would look at Marcel Reed differently if the defense was able to make a stop. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Absolutely.
And the defense didn't have to make a stop. Luck. And by the way, the defense, I do think, is improved. It's hard to say that when you give up 40 points. There are areas of the defense that I think are improved. Tackling is still an issue. Stopping the run in bunches is good, but then they give us some of the big runs. But if you look at the numbers that Love put together, I think you'd take that.
Yeah, we came into that game saying, look, Notre Dame, get ready, understand they're going to make some plays and they're going to be some long runs.
Yeah.
But I think the longest one was 24 yards.
Yeah.
And that I may be wrong on this, but that might be the only run Notre Dame had over 24. I might be wrong on that, but I don't remember one off the top of my head that was also that was longer than 20.
So the 16-yard run from Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price had that 24-yard touchdown.
So one run over 20 yards. So, I'd take that every time. I thought the defensive line, particularly the interior line, was exceptional. You give up 136 yards rushing to that backfield tandem and that offensive line, and you've done a hell of a job.
What I didn't want to do, and I'm glad I don't have to do this, is come up and do a show. Because if they would have lost that game, because we're Aggies and we've gone through this game before, we would have been ticked off, right? But that, regardless of the outcome, A&M showed me something in that game. To be able to go to South Bend and do what they did. And by the way, then they ended up winning the freaking game. This script could have gone so south so early. And that's why it's important, in my opinion, to be careful what you text your buddies and what you tweet and because it is a long game, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there's a lot of Aggies that'll get up out on the ledge.
How dare I ask Josh Pate about Marcel Reed joining the national conversation a week ago? LOL. He's regressed. I read that in the middle of that game. Marcel Reed was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, don't look at his if you're going to harp on his winning his completion percentage. Okay,
it could be better.
And he got away with a couple of passes, but he also threw the ball away at times when he was under pressure purposely, and it was the right thing to do.
Yep.
But what I'm going to look at is 360 passing yards, a key first down that he ran for on third down there at the end, and quite frankly, finding the secondary receiver and throwing a perfect pass at the most important time in the most important game of the year, maybe in Mike Elko's tenure, and to put the finishing touches on leading A&M on a game-winning drive.
Yep.
When, as I mentioned earlier, the kickoff return had been nullified.
Yep.
A lot of teams might have just said, well, it's not our day. But no, it was going to be Marcel Reed's day and Nate Bokacher's day and all the Aggies' day.
Look, this season can still go multiple ways, right? All it does is ensure that you are still in the mix for all the things you're talking about. You get a little chance to rest and come after. But we are now, 8 minutes into the show, and there's so many talking points from this game we can go to. But can we talk about the Bo Jackson Tecmo Bowl player that is Mario Craver? That 86-yard touchdown.
Super Mario?
Super Mario. You're more Luigi. He's definitely more Mario.
Well, I can't deny that. I don't even know who Luigi is, but Mario
green
was
again?
Super. I'm wearing duck camp.
Duck camp. There you go. Good answer. Good answer. There's a story behind that we said we'll get into later.
Yeah, my goodness. You know who else I loved in this game? I'm going to go because we're probably going to leave it. We're going to forget. I don't want to forget. You know who else I loved at the end of this game?
Who's that?
Tristan Jernigan.
Okay.
All right. In the post-game celebration. Watch this. Well, he's 32. They're all dancing around. Watch this. Here it is. Here he is. It's coming up, right? Come on, Tristan, do it. Okay. Oh, there it is. He does the Notre Dame logo, but there it is.
There it is.
Tristan Jernigan just became one of my all-time favorite players. That's the ultimate troll.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Look, this team has captured, I think, the national media's attention because it was an NBC, nationally televised, heavyweight match. I don't know if Notre Dame's going to lose another game this year.
This was the thrill in Manila.
Yeah.
This is I don't know, I should have come up with a rhyme for South Bend.
So far,
this is the big game at Notre Dame. I don't know.
The big game at Notre Dame.
There's something better than that, I guarantee you.
Mario Craver leads the nation with 443 yards. Remember a couple weeks ago, we're like, I wonder if we're ever going to get a 1,000-yard receiver again. We weren't. It was a question.
I like his chances.
Yeah, I think he's got a chance.
I think he's got a shot.
Yeah. And he wasn't the only guy. I mean, it's funny where Casey Concepcion can have, what do you have, 80 yards, 82 yards, something like that?
Well, let's see, I got it right here. Casey Concepcion, 82 yards on 4 receptions.
And like, I don't want to say he's an afterthought, but he's not one of the first 3 names we've mentioned. Casey was fantastic too.
Casey played well. Bussey played well. Look, if when you win a game like this, I'm not going to say everybody played well, but you're going to have almost everybody playing well when a game like this. That even includes, except, all right, they had a bust on a coverage for an easy wheel route touchdown, and they had a bust in protection on a punt. But for the most part, again, 90% of the time, A&M was playing at a very high level. And you had to. Because you were playing a team that's just as talented as you are at home. And quite frankly, I'm not sure I'm buying into it, but felt like that they were playing with their season already on the line.
Yep.
After that loss to Miami.
By the way, I thought Notre Dame fans, for the most part, I'm not talking about social media. Social media is what it is from both all fan bases. I thought the fans were great. I thought the tailgating scene was awesome.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite atmospheres that we've been at since I've been at TexAgs. I compared it to what I thought the best that I've been to have been Alabama and Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And I think this is up there with those. That atmosphere was fantastic.
It was. Like you said, for the most part, 99.9% of their fans were great. And one of them did start something with my wife. And then...
God, why does that never happen when we're around?
Because that's the kind of guy that'll attack a woman when she doesn't have somebody.
This
to
is a verbal attack, by the way.
Yeah, verbal. And then I heard a story about a young lady who from Notre Dame, a student who went up there and people were throwing water on her and stuff like that because she was cheering for the Aggies. So, but you know what?
A Notre Dame student was?
No, it was an A&M student.
Oh, okay.
Did I say Notre Dame?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. An A&M student went to the game at Notre Dame. So Notre Dame people, she was cheering for the Aggies. Notre Dame people threw water on her.
There are bad people everywhere.
But yeah, there are knuckleheads everywhere, but at some places there are fewer than others. And I think for the most part, the vast majority of Notre Dame fans were really gracious and classy to us.
I want to go back to the game-winning touchdown, my perspective, what I saw, and I want you to tell me what you saw, okay?
Okay.
Because we're standing in the end zone.
The opposite side.
Opposite side of where the touchdown. So basically, where the touchdown happened, we were standing on the kind of in the same area on the other side, right?
Right. We were in the same end zone. It was just on the right and we were in the
right
left.
where the video's being taken. I was standing next to Brian Jones, I believe. We're pretty close to Brian Jones, who shot that for us. So my angle of it was, I thought he caught it, and then the place went really quiet, and that's kind of how and obviously the celebration let me know. But then there was like a hesitation, like, is they gonna review it? Or like, because I couldn't see it cleanly.
Yeah, I didn't see it cleanly either. I was thinking, my thought was, did he catch that? Did I see what I thought I saw? I was, for Richard Zane, I was about to have a Jack Buck moment and say, I can't believe what I just saw.
I remember that.
Ricardo.
Amazing. And again, it's kind of like, I'm going to go back to the Seth Small field goal. Like, because even on my post-game show with CT and Brandon, I almost was like, I wasn't as excited as you would expect. I was almost shocked. Okay. All right. It was more like, is this a dream? Is this, it really, I mean, I know it happened, but there was a moment of me like, I can't believe, I'm so used to it happening the other way.
Yeah, I was thinking Kendrick Rogers in the back of the end zone against
you called for it
against LSU. I was thinking DeShazer Everett with the interception at the goal line against Alabama. I was thinking Greg Porter at the end of the half against Oklahoma that changed that game.
He actually said Kendrick Rogers' name.
Yeah, I said, we need, where's Kendrick Rogers when you need him? And he was wearing 87.
He was wearing 87.
I think he's 87.
Hey, this is the kind of day that we need to hear from the people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want everybody's perspective of how that last play played out, wherever you are, if you're watching it at your house, if you're at a sports bar, if you were at Notre Dame, wherever you may have been. I want to hear all about it. 979-693-1150. What is that?
Oh, that's the Buppies Catering and Bartending.
Yeah.
And after that game, you needed some bartender hotline.
Super hotline. This is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the
Rollo Insurance Studio.
It's the Go Hour presented by
See the warehouse at CC Creations.
Typically, we're hanging out over there
At the Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
Yes. Let's go around the room, left to right. Say hi to the people that I love. Nick Savage. Hello, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm great. It's been a while since I've been that fired up, excited watching a football game before, or it's been a while. Like I said, got to watch it with Richard and Luke here, and I'm sure if you pulled up the security footage, it would be something to see because we lost our minds several times during that game. But man, what a win! Since 2014, right? It's been so long since they won a ranked game on the road. So, and I think a true non-conference road game win against a ranked opponent, got to go all the way back to 1979 to get to find a win. Yeah, Penn State. That's
Curtis Sticky
insane.
went crazy in that game.
Yeah.
And Mario Craver went crazy in this game, and Marcel Reed and
Sorry, Berkshire went crazy in this game.
And Aggie's everywhere.
I mean, it's like, okay, I have lights right here pointing at me. I'm looking at the lights. It's exactly, and I can't really see. And then the ball appears. Boop,
And I catch it.
I catch that ball.
Squeeze that rascal.
Wow, what a performance. All right, we'll go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ella Ryan, hello.
David, how are you doing?
Actually, fantastic.
Me too. It's been a good week and a good weekend for the Aggies as well. Not just football being the only undefeated team. The Maroon and White cross country teams both claimed team titles at the 12th annual Texas A&M Invitational, with the senior of Cooper Cothra taking the men's 8K individual crown.
I'm going to say that cross country victory is on the same week as an omen that A&M is going to be really good in the long run.
Well played, sir. By the way, I hope Coach Henry's listening. Shout out to Coach Henry. Let's read a text or two, or a comment or two, because I know the people are talking.
Yeah, we were talking about some individuals, and Bryant from Texas said, a lot of individual performances stand out for the game, but what Damian Stanford did coming in for Scooby Williams was sensational. He was everywhere to include the stop on Love on 4th and 1. Glad to see the depth showing up.
Yeah. Hey, Colin Klein had a great game.
Oh, my gosh,
Randy Bond, he missed an early one, but
he hit the ones that he had
it was
to.
50 plus.
Yeah.
50 plus, you're rolling the dice. But he was, any more, Ella?
Yeah. What do you think about RG3's comment about Marcel Reed being in the Heisman conversation?
I absolutely agree with it. I'm not so sure he shouldn't be the front runner.
Look, these things change.
Yes, weekly.
Right? And like, oh, awful announcing. Look at what they said about Marcel Reed or this. Look, things change. Right now, he has to be in the conversation because 9 touchdown passes, 1 interception. He's rushed for a touchdown. He had a game-winning drive on the road against a top 10 team and scored on their last offensive play.
Right. And I would say you're going to have to put his numbers up against what Haynes King has done and against John Mateer, but you also have to factor in the caliber of competition. And I know Notre Dame is 0-2. Notre Dame, I bet you by mid-October is going to be back at least in the top 15.
I agree with that. And somebody just mentioned that they're not a playoff team with that defense. We'll see what happens against USC whenever that game is. To me, that is a team that is 4 points away from being the number 1 team in the country.
Well, is he talking about Notre Dame?
Notre
or
Dame.
Is he talking about A&M?
No, he's talking about Notre Dame.
Okay.
I think Notre Dame is 4 points away from being the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
If they would have had victories over Miami and A&M, I think they'd be in the top 3.
Look, it's clear Notre Dame's defense isn't what it was last year. We knew it wouldn't be. You can't take players that they had off and say you're better. But to say, okay, they're not that good, maybe, again, that A&M offense is just that good, that explosive.
Somebody posted on the YouTube page that Miami at home only had 324 yards of offense against that same Notre Dame defense.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, that game came down to a late field goal, right?
Yes.
So to start, I guess, diminishing what A&M accomplished by questioning how good Notre Dame is. Like you said, they've lost to 2 now top 10 teams by a combined 4 points.
Yep. People keep saying that A&M's schedule is manageable. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot. I think the ones that we expected to be elite may not be as elite as we thought. May not be. There's still a lot of football left. Texas may not be as elite. May not. I say may because they've got 1 loss against the number 1 team in the country. And they've looked poor against some of the lesser opponents. You could say that A&M looked poor against lesser opponents. So you've got that. But I think the other teams on their schedule might be better than we thought, like Auburn, right? Like there are some teams on their schedule. South Carolina, maybe not as good as we thought. Well, about what I thought they'd be. I didn't think they'd lose to Vanderbilt the way they did.
I felt like Vanderbilt would make a good showing, but I have to admit, I was expecting South Carolina at home to win that game.
Yeah.
And maybe could you see a A&M versus Vanderbilt in the SEC championship game?
Diego Pavia. Oh man. All right. Let's do this. Let's hit a break. We'll come back. You can text the show. You can call the show. 979-693-1150. OB.
Yeah.
I think a day like Saturday, like the best way to have traveled back would have been like thinking ahead. 1775, can you cater all the way to South Bend?
I bet they could. I got to tell you, after something like that, I was craving that barbecue. I became a craver.
Yeah.
I was craving it like Mario Craver. Mario Craver. If you're craving barbecue, be like Mario. Crave it and then go to 1775.
And I'm like your brother. I'm craving it too.
Crave it. And you know what?
No.
It comes through. It delivers. 1775 delivers greatness for their cravers, much like Mario Craver delivered greatness at South Bend.
Just to be clear, I don't believe they deliver, but they deliver in greatness.
They're not. They're
not Domino's.
Here. Yeah, but they'll deliver the greatness. That is 1775 barbecue.
1775 TXBBQ.com 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
It's good.
Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas. It's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer.
One of the greatest songs of all time. I'm going to say it every time they play it.
Is Survivor your favorite band?
No, I couldn't tell you another song they sing. I just know the guy wears a beret, whatever you call it, like a little hat that, not a beret. What is it called?
A beret?
Is it a beret? Okay, yeah.
Like a French hat?
Yeah, like a French hat, yeah. I just don't think that's a good look, unless you're in the military.
Yeah, unless you're a green beret.
Yeah.
They had that song, I don't know. I know another song of theirs.
Hearts on Fire? No, that's Frank Stallone.
By the way, before we go, let me just say this one last
Please say
thing.
what you got to say.
First of all, I thought the game was called excellent. I thought Mike Elko showed some clock management that rarely seen at A&M in a while.
Yep.
But I think one of the when you have a game like this, it's so easy to forget some big moments. Okay, and I think you got to remember when Notre Dame was up 14-7 and had the ball first and goal at the A&M 4.
Yep.
And I think it was Albert Regis who had a great game. I think it was Albert Regis getting a stop on first down, and then Marcus Ratliff came up and got a stop on second down for a 2-yard loss, and then Will Lee broke up a pass on third down, and they ended up forcing a field goal.
Yep.
From against that Notre Dame running game to force a field goal that, looking back, it turned out to be huge, even though it was so early in the game.
Yeah, you're 100% correct on that. I had Nick cut a lot of sound. I'd like to listen to some of it at some point, but I do think it is important to, hear from the people. There's a lot of text we want to get through because I think today's the day we want to hear from people. But I also want to go to a segment we have done for 4 years here on the show. It's called The Turning Point, which I think has a little bit more weight this week.
Yes.
For obvious reasons. But I think it's important to go because I think there are multiple ways we can go with the Turning Point, OB. You kind of told me what you thought one of yours was. I don't want to jump ahead, but was it the timeout early on?
Yeah, it was. I thought it might be a master stroke of coaching by Mike Elko. It was 14-7, I think, and maybe it's 14-10. I'm trying to remember the score.
Do you want to hear Coach Elko on it, or do you want to explain?
Yeah, it's just that, look, they were looking at 2nd and 1, I think, and Elko called timeout. And I thought, hey, look, maybe it's 3rd and 1 to settle the guys down. Because at that time, Notre Dame had just gotten a block punt for a touchdown, and now they look like they're just about to work their way down the field easily.
They're up 7-0. It's first quarter, 3rd and 1 on the 50, and there's 11:04 left. But again, think about it. Notre Dame at this point at home is up 7-0,
and they're driving. And then the A&M comes up with this stop. I think it was Scooby forced the play outside, and then DJ Hicks comes up and makes the tackle, and they force a punt.
Yeah.
Right? And at the time, I was thinking, what a
stroke of genius.
What a stroke of genius by the coach. So I was wanting to give him a lot of credit for this amazing it's like a basketball coach when things are going bad, taking a timeout and settling those guys down and changing the trajectory of the game. And I think maybe Mike did it by accident.
Well, let's listen to Coach Elko talk about that play in particular after Olin asked the question.
When you want to become a championship level program, and we're not there yet, we have a lot of work to do to become that. There's going to be moments like this, though, that are going to help springboard it, right? Moments where your guys just find a way to compete and battle through everything that's happening in a game and find a way to come out victorious, right? And it's been well documented how long it's been since this program has gone on the road and beat a really good team. For us to do that on the road in South Bend at night against a team that was obviously desperate to save their season tonight, I just think it's the step that we had to take to move forward. Right, and that's all we did. We took one step forward tonight, and now we got to rest and we got to get through the bye week, and we got to get a lot better as we head into SEC play with all of our goals in front of us.
So that's not the bite that I was talking about. That's okay, though. That kind of wraps up the whole evening. You can hear the fans in the background because where they have the press conference room is right by where the fans were walking out. And during the press conference, or right before, the referees were walking by and the fans were giving them the business. Let me give you a couple other different turning points, if you don't mind. This one is, thank goodness they made this call. 46 seconds left in the game, 3rd and 16. Reed's pass is incomplete, but they do call defensive holding on Christian Gray.
And it was.
And gave A&M the automatic first down. To me, that's like, if they don't make that call right there, maybe we still get the win, but that's an obvious defensive holding.
And quite frankly, they hadn't been able to do anything with Mario. And if you don't hold him, if you looked at how the spacing was out in coverage, and who knows if Marcel would have saw him, and I think he would because he's probably looking for him. But if he doesn't hold him, they probably score there.
Yep. And then there's the timeout on the 4th and 11.
By Notre Dame. Because A&M lined up, and I don't know what the play was going to be. Maybe they were going to shift into the same play they ran, but Bokacher was on the other side of the field. He was on the right side.
Yep.
Marcus Freeman calls timeout, and maybe they got him some time to say, okay, let's come back with this play.
Right.
So.
And then this, we do have Coach Elko talking about this play in particular. I think I thought we had both bites, but we definitely do have this one. Here's Coach Elko on that play call.
We went to we had a similar play call before the timeout. We changed the formation presentation of it and ran a very similar play to what we were going to call before the timeout. We wanted to honestly have something where Nate was running on the side because we kind of thought it was going to be really hard to get it to Mario or KC. They had been kind of bracketing them the 2 previous plays, and so we felt like that would give us an option on the sideline if we needed it, and we did, and Marcel gave him a ball that he could go up and catch, and then he made a heck of a play.
Yeah, he made a heck of a play. I do want to give an honorable mention. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Honorable mention on that drive as another turning point. There were several times during the game that I wanted Marcel to run, and he didn't. Well, he ran on 3rd and 8, gave them the first down to give them a chance.
How about the
Billy Liucci sighting incoming?
How about the 36-yard completion? How about the 36-yard completion? I think it was around 35, 36 yards to Craver early in that.
To get you moving,
I wonder if Bokacher played basketball because he sure looked like a basketball guy getting position for a rebound on that.
Well, he is going to be an Aggie lore forever because of that play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, making plays like that.
It's kind of like Calzada. If he doesn't make another, and I think he's going to make more plays, but if he doesn't make another play,
he's an Aggie legend.
He's an Aggie legend for
that play.
You remember the guy that made that catch against Notre Dame, the one that won? Nate Bokacher, that guy.
Yeah, and if he doesn't make another catch, it doesn't matter. People will remember that.
Well, let's hope he makes a whole lot more.
And let's hope catches like that to win games. All right, Obi, you were wearing a green shirt? Hoodie? This is
a green, I guess it's a hoodie. Yeah, it's a hoodie.
Yeah, it's a hoodie. It's got a hoodie. Yeah.
That's a good look.
You look like the Green Arrow.
The Green Arrow is pointing up for A&M after beating Notre Dame.
It became maroon, though. We changed it. But that shirt is beautiful.
I like it. It feels very comfortable and airy.
Lightweight.
It is lightweight, unlike me.
It is a hoodie that you can wear in winter or in the summer.
I mean, what is it now?
It's kind of in
between.
It's
still summer.
It was actually very
It's still summer for like another 5 days.
Yep. So if you want fashion, if you want to go around town, if you want to go to tailgates, no matter what city you're in, you can wear a Duck Camp hoodie.
Duck Camp travels.
Whether you're gearing for a hunt, a fishing trip, or just trying to survive September in College Station, Duck Camp has got you covered. Check it out at duckcamp.com. Built for the outdoors and designed for everything else. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is good to be right. All right, we're back on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. I do want to read a YouTube comment because I think it's half true, half not true. Ahan says, I said it at the post-game wrap. I'll say it again. Major props to Nuño for always believing this win was possible. I definitely doubted, but he was right, and I'm so glad he was. I will say that on Friday, I thought we would cover and lose. Then on the tailgate show that Richard Zane hosts and does a great job on, I was live from Notre Dame. And he goes, all right, Nuño, give me a prediction. My prediction was off on the score. I think I said 27-24 A&M. And I said, I'm buying the vibes. The focus that they had walking into the stadium gave me this kind of sense of like, I think we're going to do this darn thing. And I had some doubts during the game, no doubt, especially after the block punt. But they kept on giving me reasons to believe.
And, remember last week, and this just shows how soft I was. How soft of character I was, because I was saying, look, every time I break down this game, I keep seeing A&M, it comes back to me as A&M win.
Except history.
But the history, until they show me they can do it, I'm going to go.
But I'm going to tell you, I don't think anybody would have predicted this kind of offensive onslaught. Like, I think we would have predicted maybe Mario gets a really good game and has 89 yards, and maybe KC gets you 100 or something like. That would have been a really good 207 yards.
Yeah, that first touchdown where he catches on the sideline and two guys hit him and he spins off and then he runs. It really reminded me of Devon Achane against North Carolina.
Yeah, you're right about that. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We've got a couple callers. We don't always take callers. We're taking callers today. Brad is on the line. Brad, good morning, sir. How are you? Welcome to TexAgs.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just wanted y'all to expound on this, but watching the game, our offensive coordinator, Klein, to me, made the best call of the day, which enabled us to win the game.
Let me guess.
Gutsy call.
Let me guess.
Was it
the 12-yard run by Le'Veon Moss on 3rd and 12?
Yes, to get the first down, to enable the kick the tying field goal and not have to punt or go for a fourth down. I'm sure he was thinking they would be going for fourth down if he didn't get it. But he saw the numbers in the box, and they had the guts to call that running play and to get that field goal. Otherwise, if Notre Dame would have got the ball back and scored and went up 9 or 10, spinning the missed extra point, almost puts it a little out of reach. But that was the greatest call of the day.
That was we actually said that in the press box.
Yeah. It was one of the greatest among a lot of great calls. And I'm with you completely, Brad. You're very astute. He's a very astute observer. I agree with what he's saying
100%.
there.
By the way, K Mix says, how about some love for Des Ricks? Only allowed 2 completions for 7 yards all season.
Yes.
He's been fantastic.
But, hey, Des, once you get him to the out of bounds, you can let him go.
I will say this. So we don't get the benefit of replay, and I hate to say that. We get a little bit of it. Like, you got to look and you got to time it correctly, and when you're in the press box, a lot of people, Aggies, are saying that was not a good call. I have to watch it again, slow it down. From our angle, it did seem like he held on to it a little bit longer than he should have. But I guess on several replays, people are like, it wasn't as bad.
Okay,
let's go to Ralph there on the hotline, on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending hotline. Ralph, welcome to TexAgs.
What's on your mind, Ralph?
This is a good call.
Talk to me, Ralph.
I think it's line 2 that has some issues.
Okay.
So we'll just drop it and see if Ralph wants to call back. Anyway, bottom line is that win gives you, I don't want to say the opportunity to continue down this path that we have seen for years possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you just got to keep doing it.
Now you've got to prove that, unlike last year, after you beat LSU, that you can handle it. Mike even said last year, we were in a position where we became the hunted and we didn't handle it well. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that's going to be a message that he's going to preach often over the next 2 weeks.
Yep, I agree. Let's try Ralph.
Okay, Ralph. I want to hear what Ralph has to say.
Is it Ralph or Rolf? Because it's
Rolf.
Rolf.
I like your kolaches, but let's hear whatever it is, Ralph or Rolf.
Rolf?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
It's Ross.
Ross.
It's Ross. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. guys, I listened to y'all for a long time. I don't know what y'all think overall, but this just feels different to me. 2021 Alabama, we played so great and it felt so good, but then we let ourselves down. We lose to Ole Miss and LSU to end the season. I'll go back again. Like, we lost the games earlier in 2012 with Manziel's year. I know that he ended up beating Bama, and we're great, and we finished the year and go to the Cotton Bowl. If there would have been a college football playoff, we probably would have made it that year.
Mm-hmm.
And before, I'll go all the way back when I was a student, 2002, we beat Oklahoma, but then we lose to Mizzou and Texas to end the year. For whatever reason, I'll just say this. This one feels different. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad to get the win. I'm glad the young man botched the extra point. We were lucky to get a win, but we were lucky because we played well. And even though they won, just like y'all talked about, special teams, so much to improve. Offense, yes, Craver and Marcel should both be Heisman considerates. And yeah, the defense, we can't allow 40 points a game. I'm so glad to get the win, and I always think that A&M's going to win every game. That's just kind of Aggie I am. But I'm trying to take off my maroon-colored glasses and look at it and say, I'm so glad we won. I'm glad we won the big game, but now it's just next game. We got an entire SEC schedule to play. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, thanks y'all for breaking it down and taking my call.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ross.
What that does is it just tells you, it shows you that everything is very possible. Not just, hey, and it's not just a pie in the sky possibility.
Yep.
It's a very realistic possibility that this could be a huge year.
It could.
But you still got to follow it up.
And by the way, it's
like
okay.
Ross and Ralph was saying.
It's okay to enjoy the moment and project what it could look like. What we think and say out loud does not affect the results of the game, right? Like they know they still have so much work to do. They've taken on one elite team, and I do think Notre Dame's an elite team, on the road. I don't care if you're taking on an elite team. If you go on the road at night at a place that an SEC team or a brand name, it is very hard to come away with a victory. And A&M came away with the victory after spotting them 7 points to start the freaking game.
They were down by 10 twice. And just the resiliency of that team. You can look at the explosiveness and all that thing, and it was great, and the play calling. The resiliency of that team, that might be the difference when we're seeing about what's different about this team and some others. It's just this resiliency that they're showing under Coach Oko.
Let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Lots of texts are coming in, some in Spanish. Fonz, I see you. Not sure if Ella is fluent in the language, so maybe we won't get to that one right away. Maybe I'll have to read that one. But we do have some text to get to.
Sadly, I took Chinese in high school, so can't.
Sadly?
Well, can't read any Spanish, and I also could probably tell you.
So all of our Chinese
probably
listeners
didn't get any Chinese.
I could also probably say maybe one sentence.
Okay.
It was whatever. From Ryan in Dallas, he said,
"Hey Ryan,
what does it say about our faith in our offense that it was relieving when the kickoff TD return was called back? I had much more faith in Marcel and the boys marching down with 2 minutes on the clock than I did with the defense to stop Notre Dame to go down and kick a game-winning field goal."
Unfortunately, I was there. I was there too. That's how I felt.
And yet, nobody wants to take their touchdown off the board, but it was a blessing in disguise.
Well, and I also didn't. I saw the flag well before we knew it was a touchdown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I it looked like he could be a touchdown. You know, something from our angle.
And it was a legitimate hold.
Yeah. And by the way, for everybody, we got to hit a break here, but for everybody who is getting upset about the Notre Dame fans talking about the holding on the play, continue posting every hold that they got away with on their touchdowns, every penalty that wasn't. I want it all over the internet for, what's homeboy's name, the referee and everybody else?
McAuliffe
and Mr. Notre Dame and Mrs. Notre Dame. I want them all to see all the mistakes, okay? You can tag me on those. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit a break. Jason Rollo was at the game. Oh, guys, stop. Let me talk. Never mind. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12 at 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. We go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ella Ryan, there's so many texts, we're not going to be able to get to all of them, but we're going to try our best.
There's so many texts today. But one that I really liked was a texter said that he was at Kyle Field for the 7 OT win against LSU, for Seth Small's game-winning field goal against Bama, and at South Bend Saturday night. And he said it's kind of like a proud parent of 3 spectacular kids. How can you possibly choose one over the other?
I like that. That's
good. That's true.
That's text of the day.
But you know what? You can. This is a line I used a lot. You can be prisoner of the moment.
Yeah.
To me, that catch will always be where it is. It can get better with how the season goes. What if they go on this amazing run to the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that catches the difference between getting in or not, or winning, getting a higher seed in the playoffs. Like that, I'm saying it can grow from here.
Yeah. Which of your children do you like the best?
Depends who cleans the most dishes that day and puts their clothes up.
I don't know. Look, I'm kind of old, but if Irma and I ever had twins, I think I'm going to name them Nate and Marcel, even if they're girls.
And if you have triplets, can Mario be one of them?
Nate, Marcel, and Mario. Heck yeah. How about you?
Me?
Ella, if you ever have triplets, what are you going to name them?
Oh my God, I have no
Mario,
I hope I do not have triplets.
Casey, and
Troy,
Marcel.
and Mike.
I don't know if I could do triplets. Thank you.
But you could do another text.
I can definitely do another text, yeah. So talking about the refs, refs influence every game. I haven't watched it back yet, but the game-winning TD was a blatant hold. But how poorly Notre Dame's defense played, I did not care. Notre Dame did not deserve to win that game.
Take your L. Take your L, Irish.
By the way, Brad Duncan, I'm just reading it, all right? I'm just going to read what it says. Brad Duncan says, Elko's 3-2 against top 10 teams at A&M, by the way. Sark, 3-8.
Let's just get into the championship.
OB, hit him with it real quick. Hit him with it.
Look at this guy. Radio audience is saying, why did it go silent? Thank you, OB. It was a great trip, brother. When we come back on TexAgs Live, Marty Smith of ESPN and the SEC Network, your text messages, and Billy Liucci, all on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And by the way, speaking of Rollo, Jason sent me a picture from Notre Dame. Had a great time. And we're back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program on a great Monday, celebrating what was an awesome victory for Texas A&M, a bye week, and then a great showdown against a very hot Auburn team. We'll see how that plays out against Oklahoma this upcoming weekend. We go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline for our weekly conversation with Marty Smith, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. And some things just go together. Burgers and fries, Friday nights and football, and now at Academy Sports and Outdoors, Whataburger. For a limited time, you can get Academy and Whataburger tailgate gear coming in hot, score game day gear, fan styles, and more. Dig in at Academy where the fun can't lose. Marty, good morning, buddy. How are you?
David, hello, sir. Congratulations to everybody in Aggie land. Fantastic performance. As Coach Elko said, that was a door they had to kick down, and they've now done it and are legitimately in the national conversation as a program and a team to be reckoned with for the long haul here. That was a hell of a win. A lot to clean up. Certainly, you can't have that many penalties and give up block punts and the miscues, but to put up 500 yards of offense and win the game on the road that way, and on that specific play, coaching staff said it was supposed to go to Concepcion, and Marcel Reed had the presence of mind to evade the rush and check down to a guy that had a one-on-one matchup who's caught about 8 passes in his college career. And now he'll never buy a beer in Brazos County again for the rest of his life. And so just a hell of a win, man. Thrilled for everybody down there. That was an impressive win.
So it does not guarantee anything, right? Obviously, last season started off great as well, except for the loss to Notre Dame. But what it does do is it makes each week that much more important for this national title hunt to get into the playoffs. In your eyes, what does this win signify for the program?
I think it signifies legitimate relevance in the national conversation. We've all been waiting for this for a long time because Texas A&M always recruits well. They always reload well. They have talent everywhere all the time, but it rarely comes to expectation fruition. I mean, you and I sat here a couple weeks ago before week 1 and went through the schedule, and we decided 8-4. And I don't remember your opinion, but I had Notre Dame as a loss. And so I was wrong there. And so they've already proven me wrong. And I couldn't be more impressed when a team takes on the genuine culture and relationship and personality of their head coach. And when that personality is toughness and togetherness and a substantial chip on your shoulder to prove people wrong and to show that they are as good as the talent would suggest, all of that is Mike Elko. And he's not a big bloviator. He's not a guy that stands in front of a microphone and pontificates. He tells you what he thinks, and then he instills that in his guys. I mean, look at chucking chairs. I love that stuff. I love when a guy is so fired up and believes deeply in his guys, and they're not performing to the level that he expects them to. It's not berating someone. It's making a statement and showing that passion. And that's what this team's become. And I'm going to tell you, man, going out and getting those 2 wide receivers, they are some bad boys. They are a problem. And when you have 140 yards after the catch and you're catching swing passes and house calling those swing passes, that's what we expect, and they're closing the deal.
Marty, I think I also had the Notre Dame game as a loss, but initially I thought that was the most winnable of the 3 really hard road games. What I think has happened since then is that I have questions about certain teams on their schedule that maybe they're not as good as I initially thought, and then there's other games I'm like, but maybe this team who I thought A&M should be significantly better than might not be. I mean, it may be a lot like Auburn. I still have questions about Auburn because I haven't seen them really do well. They beat Baylor, and I thought that was a great win. But I want to see more from Auburn. We're going to find out a lot about them. I think Texas, there's a TBD on them because they haven't looked great against bad teams, but A&M didn't look great against bad teams either. Now, nobody was booed, and there's a difference. So I guess I'm still kind of trying to figure out the SEC.
We all are. This weekend is going to be really interesting. You're right. We're going to learn a ton about Auburn this weekend with Oklahoma's really good, man. They're really good. That defense flies to the football like their hair's on fire, and they got bad intentions when they get where they're going. It's very Brent Venables. And when you got a guy behind center with the kind of moxie that John Mateer has, and the weapons that he has at his disposal, there's a lot there to work with. Now, Jackson Arnold is coming back to Oklahoma now as Auburn's starting quarterback. And how will he manage that? Because there were times last year when he was deer in the headlights when he was behind center for OU. And as much as I want to complain about the portal and how broken I think so many things are in college sports, he's one of those examples that, man, it didn't work out the way we all thought it would as a really highly rated quarterback coming out of high school, and it just didn't work in Norman. So he goes over to Auburn, gets a new start with Coach Freeze, and right now it's going okay. It's going okay. This will tell us a lot this weekend. I'm very high on Oklahoma. So Texas is very confusing to me. I was watching some of their tape this morning just to see what I saw, and Arch, man, out of sorts. There was some confusion there. A lot of lackluster, dynamic plays, explosive plays. So they got a lot to figure out. I'm not gonna sit here and tear the kid down. I can't believe he got booed. That to me that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but he'll get better, and Sark will continue to put him in a position to win games, and that's the job, as Brian Kelly made very clear this weekend.
Marty, another thing on A&M, I think there's a lot to fix on the defense. I get that, and there was times that I was very intrigued, or I was happy with some of the defense. You limit Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price to less than 150 yards. I think that's great, but there were some explosive plays. That being said, what I loved about A&M's performance was they can beat you in the air, and they can still run that ball. They are so multidimensional now.
They really are, and we knew that they'd be able to run the football. Whether that's line it up and run it down your throat, or that's design quarterback runs, with Reed being so fast and so dynamic in that capacity. But it's obvious that they can now stretch the field with those wide receivers that I mentioned earlier. I think Marcel Reed went for 360. I do think he only completed 45 or 46% of his passes, 17 for 37. I'm not a math guy. You'll have to figure that out. But it's there. It's more than just the bones are there. I mean, there's a lot of meat. And so I got this shirt when I was down there one time. I went to barbecue class at Texas A&M, and I learned. I grew up on a cattle farm, so I knew a lot of this, but I certainly didn't know everything. All the different various meat cuts on the cow, and whatnot. And so it was really fun and educational. But they gave me this shirt, and the shirt says Texas A&M Meat Judging, and it's a hell of a T-shirt, David.
Heck yeah. We win a lot of meat judging competitions. Marty, as for Notre Dame, I feel like, I said this earlier in the show, they're 3 or 4 points away from being maybe the top team in the country. I know that they're 0-2, and I know the rest of their schedule is easy, and they should be able, I don't know about win out, because they have USC, and that seems to be a little bit harder than we initially thought, but I think they're going to be in the in the playoff conversation regardless. How good is Notre Dame, even though they're 0-2, in your opinion?
I think there's a couple things to be noted there. Miami's very good. I'm as impressed with Miami as I am any team in the country, certainly based on what my preseason thought process was versus what they're putting on the football field. Mario's got it humming. I'm thrilled for Carson Beck. He's a young man I've gotten to know during his time at Georgia, and he's playing very high-level football. You botch a snap on an extra point, which is it happened. It happened, and so it happened. But rare. That's a rare occurrence that had a very important impact on the outcome of the football game. There was a tackle that occurred on the last play of the game, Texas A&M's touchdown, that was not called. And so that was beneficial to Texas A&M. Every single play in a football game adds up to the outcome of the football game. We tend to look at one or two plays, and coaches will tell you it comes down to those one or two plays. And on paper, that's absolutely true, but every single play cumulatively matters. So you look at those two plays, right? If Notre Dame wins this game, the narrative is not the same narrative because Texas A&M is really good. And then you've lost to Miami barely, and you're 1-1, and the only top 25 team you have left on your schedule is USC. And so it's looking really good. But the ACC is better than I thought it was, and who knows what's going to happen. I think in the moment it's easy to go, oh yeah, they're done. But I just don't know. You said it earlier. This is a season that has a lot of unknowns in it, and we're 3 weeks in. I have no idea what's going to happen. No clue what's going to happen when we get there. Last year, we all thought Clemson was done after a couple weeks, that we don't know if they have what it takes, and they wound up going to the college football playoff anyway. Notre Dame, who'd they lose to? Northern Illinois last year or something? Or was it, yeah, Northern Illinois, and they played in the national championship. They played for the national championship. So I can't sit here and tell you what's going to happen. I don't know. But to lose a couple games the way that they have, it looks rough on paper, but then you look at the fact that the Associated Press voters still have them in the top 25. The last 0-2 team to be in the top 25 was the 1988 Michigan Wolverines. And so obviously people still believe in their opportunity.
Marty, I think Josh Heupel has proven himself to be not a gimmick coach. The guy adapts to the talent he has. So, look, they lose to Georgia, and a game that I know that they felt they should have had. They scored 40-plus. I think it was the first. I think they're what? I forget what the record is, but they only had one loss whenever they score 40-plus. I think it says.
I think it was 13-1. Is that right?
13-1. So I think we learned a lot about both Georgia and Tennessee, even in loss for Tennessee. But Georgia, the resolve that they have, regardless of being down, and the way they were able to flip the script in the second half. And then Tennessee, man, the Joey Aguilar story is a great story. The Josh Heupel coaching story is a great story.
I agree. I spent last Monday and Tuesday there. My college game day feature was on Joey Aguilar and his unbelievable path to Knoxville from City College in San Francisco as a 0 star with 0 offers, riding a BART train 90 minutes each way, many days of which he could not afford the fare, so he started peddling Air Jordans in order to afford his train fare so that he could go down to City College where he gray-shirted. And then COVID hit. He was ready to quit the game. Diablo Valley College reinstitutes football. His parents talk him into trying again. He goes there and plays, balls out, goes all the way across the country to Boone, North Carolina, had unbelievable culture shock from the ocean to the mountains. All he did was put up 7,200 yards of offense in 2 years. Diego Pavia rule happens. NCAA in December allows former JUCO players to receive an extra year of eligibility. He gets back in the portal, goes to UCLA. Nico gets gone from the University of Tennessee, transfers to UCLA. Bleep happens. He gets back in the portal, takes Nico's job at the University of Tennessee, shows up, learns the playbook in 2 weeks, wins the job, and is doing nothing but just ripping in Knoxville, Tennessee. Unbelievable story. And a phenomenal young man, and to see his mother and his grandmother in tears last weekend as he ran through the Power T for the first time, it's awesome. And they're a problem, son. Yeah, they lost. I get, like Gunnar Stockton was the #1 question mark for Georgia coming into the season, and that ain't a question anymore. That throw he had on 4th and 6 and the rest of your life, outside shoulder to Humphreys in the corner of the end zone, and then the 2-point conversion to tie it, and then they ultimately go and win the football game. Just it's movie stuff.
Marty, I'm confused about LSU. I shouldn't be because they keep winning and they beat good teams.
No, it's fair to be confused.
The offense isn't so far. I don't want Brian Kelly to yell at me. What we expected so far, and the defense. I'm sorry, you got to give them credit. It wasn't just DJ Lagway making mistakes. It was LSU's defense putting them in some really bad positions. But I don't know enough about I don't know enough about Florida or Clemson to tell you how good those wins are right now.
So I think there's a couple things to look at. With Florida, so let's just start with LSU. DBU is back with they are just loaded in the back end defensively. When you consider that Weeks was ejected for targeting minutes into the game, all right, that is one of the most important people on that defensive unit. Blake Baker is an unbelievable defensive coordinator, but he's also the linebacker coach. So it shows you the depth that he's built, that he can lose the leader of that defense, vocally and otherwise, and still play at that high a level where 5 picks, there was a bunch of different guys who had those picks. And as I've stated on your show before, I stated on Marty and McGee on Saturday morning when we were in Baton Rouge. To me, the #1 player right now out of the portal is Mansour Delane, #4 for LSU. Again, go turn on the tape. He played guy's going to be an All-American if he keeps playing like this. He's going to be a first-round draft pick if he keeps playing like this. And came over from Virginia Tech, because of course he did, and is playing at a very high level. Now, if you look at, I can't remember, I think it was a holding call, David. Florida had an explosive play early in the game to Jaden Ball, and it was called back. 80-something yards, I think. And that is such a tone setter, all right? They have had so many, they being the Gators, they've had so many mistakes, fundamentally, discipline, etc., that have really hurt them. And then once the blood was in the water for the Bayou Bengals, they just had DJ Lagway seeing ghosts. Mm-hmm. And it was when you're in that place, man, that voodoo comes out, it can really mess with your head. Now, on the other side of football, they haven't been as explosive as we're expecting. They haven't run the ball very well. You have to look at context. I feel like I say this a lot, and context is important in this life. Florida has one of the best defensive fronts in the country, to their credit, and LSU has 4 brand new offensive linemen. They sent 4 offensive linemen to the NFL, and with that comes, I think 2 of those 4, I might be wrong here. Y'all watching can correct me. You seem to be adept at that. I think 2 of those guys came from the portal. And so learning that real, that cohesion and that communication takes a little bit of time. Nussmeier hasn't been as dynamic vertically as we have expected and saw from him last year, But I'm also going to agree with Coach Kelly that you play to win the game, and they're winning. They got to clean some stuff up to continue winning because the schedule only gets harder, man.
Marty, I should have let you go a couple of minutes ago. It's always fun to talk to you. Anything upcoming with the podcast we need to know about?
Got a lot of good guests coming up, CEOs, sports figures. It is growing, and we're so thankful for that. It's called Never Settle. Y'all can go on every podcast platform. Please do subscribe to it. Academy came on board and is an incredible partner to me, has been for almost a decade. I know they're an incredible partner to you guys. It's the greatest. I love that store. I can go in there and walk around for hours. They have everything. I know a lot of y'all got your kids back in school. There's things you need, and they have everything there. They do. I'm a workout hound and love to they even have a hydration station with liquid IV and Noon and all that stuff. So go there, man. Go to Academy. They have everything you want and more.
I appreciate you, Marty. We'll talk to you next week, bro.
Thank you, brother. Y'all have fun.
You too, man. Take care. Marty Smith here on the Buffy's Catering Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. Billy Liucci will be with us. We'll chit-chat with Billy right now. Let's talk Rollo Insurance. As I mentioned earlier, Jason Rollo took a picture outside of Notre Dame Stadium and with his wife, and they had a blast. How could they not have had a blast? That was a knockout fight. And if you want someone to knock out the competition, this is a cheesy segue. For the best insurance out there, it is Jason and Jackson and the entire Rollo Insurance team. They're absolutely the best. I'm telling you, if they work with you, you're going to be blown away by how awesome they are. You can call them, you can text them. They'll know your specific situation. They'll know you by name. They'll know your kids by name. They'll know everything about you because they want to make sure that you're taken care of. Whether it's home, auto, business, or ranch insurance, you want to start a relationship who puts you first. Your agent becomes familiar with all of your needs. When you need advice or have a claim, you'll speak directly to someone, not a call center. That's the Rollo difference. Visit them at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. Billy arguing with me on a flight that he wasn't on, how long my flight took. We got on the flight at 9:30 in the morning, and we landed at 12:40. I don't know about you, but the math sounds like 3 hours. Anyway.
David, such an amateur. You're looking at you don't know when you took off and landed. You're looking at the itinerary.
I know I got on the plane 20 minutes before we're supposed to take off.
Okay.
I know we landed.
And you probably sat there for 40 minutes on the plane.
And then we landed
and then
3 hours later. That feels like almost a 3-hour flight.
And you sat on the runway for probably at least 10 minutes before getting off the plane, if not 30.
Yeah. Well, let's hear a text.
They work in runway time when you see that flight. It's not how long you're in the air.
I know.
Never is.
3 hours was the time they told us, and it was 2:40 of on-air time.
Impossible.
Round up.
Can you read a text or two, Ella Ryan?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, and I'm going to Google some stuff.
From Royal Raymond in Dallas, he said, my favorite thing that was said about the win this past weekend came from Coach Elko. This win is the next step. Can you guys reflect on what steps the program has taken since Elko took over and what the next steps are for the Aggies?
The next steps is us not being surprised that they've won these kind of games. I think, unfortunately, there have been, Billy, I don't know if you were feeling this during the game, but I was like, am I watching the South Carolina game again? That's what it felt like because they fell behind. They were down 10 points twice, and they made this comeback. I'm like, please don't give me another Auburn, South Carolina vibe where you have this great comeback and then you can't finish the deal. They finished the damn deal.
It would have been more like Auburn. I never felt like they were going to do, right there at the very beginning, even at the beginning, I was like, that punt block could cost you the game because you might lose by 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 7. And then we're going to look back and go, well, if you didn't give them a touchdown on a punt block. But I didn't think they're in deep trouble. This thing's over. There was even if Notre Dame would have gone up 14-0 there, I just, at the very beginning, I liked the way A&M was running the ball. I think Moss real early, and then I was like, well, that drive got killed by a hold. And then I saw open receivers in the very early going of that game. I just felt like the Aggie offense was gonna score and do enough to keep up. Really, the only time I on both those field goals by Bond in the second half, I was like, they have to make this. Because you knew with the way the Notre Dame offense was going, it was like the Aggies would get a stop and Notre Dame would go down and score. The Aggies would get a stop. So it was like, man, if they pop a run, if Love pops a run, or if they get one of these guys open again downfield, you might be down by 10 in an instant. So both those field goal drives were massive, and Bond had to make both kicks. So when he was lining up, I was like, man, if he doesn't make this kick, they could be in trouble. Those were the only times I started to feel that way, but he made both of them, drilled them, and then at the end on third down, when it got to be third down, and you started to see how tough it was to get, it'd be one thing if you're at the 4-yard line, but you're sitting there at the 11 and having to get in, and just how confined everything was, and there weren't openings, and they were putting all that attention on Concepcion and Craver. And they were getting some pressure on Marcel. I was like, man, this is going to be a tough ask, a tough 11 yards. So I never thought it was going to be South Carolina where they kind of pulled away. Really, until it got to third down was when I was like, man, they can't let this one get away. That whole drive, I thought they're going to score. Even when Bussey had the kick return and it got called back, I was like, in some weird way, that could be a blessing because I think they're going to go down and score, just the way the offense was going. And when Craver had that catch and run, I went, okay, they're going to do this. But right there about third down, I was like, damn, it would have felt more like Auburn than it did South Carolina.
Are you, and this is too early in the season to make these kind of comparisons, but do you get any 2023 LSU vibes from this team with a better defense? A&M's defense this year is better than LSU's defense was that year. But the kind of games that, You knew that Jaden Daniels and that offense could outscore most teams on.
Yeah.
No.
No, I don't think it's terrible, and I think a couple games in, LSU probably wouldn't have dreamt of where it was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So they had great receivers, especially I think they had 3 at the top, but I think these guys are spectacular. I mean, I see what you're saying.
Really good offense that can score 35 plus.
Remember, though, here's where you can stop the comparisons right here. They lost their first game. They lost to Florida State. They lost that showdown non-conference game in epic fashion. I think that was the one. I think that was the one where they came all the way back. Or no, both of them were pretty epic games. I forget which was which. I think the one with the kicking miscue or something crazy happened at the end. That wasn't Jaden Daniels. It was the next year.
2023, they lost 45-24.
Okay, so Jaden got blown out in that one. Yeah, so the year before was the last second craziness. So no, I mean we're already off that path, hopefully. But I get what you're saying.
It's just more about the
style of quarterback, explosive offense, wide receivers. But I'm going to say this: that was a historically bad LSU defense, and they went 9-3. Or you're talking about? You talking about the year after?
No, I'm talking about
Jaden Daniels was there 2 years.
Yeah, I think this is the year they went to the SEC championship.
That was his
23
first year. Yeah,
second year.
His second.
Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Okay, whatever, dude. I don't know why you just did that on live radio. Congratulations.
What? I think I was right.
It's early.
2023 LSU season.
You're right.
Yeah,
I'm wrong, but I'm sitting here trying to break down the one LSU team with Jaden Daniels stunk.
Yes, his first year they weren't very good. Their second year was when they went to the SEC championship.
I think you're wrong.
Am I wrong? Okay.
Yeah, I think you're wrong. You screwed me up. His second year when he won the Heisman, they stunk. His first year they went to the SEC title game. Am I right?
They went 10-3 in 2023.
Yeah, his first year.
His second year.
All right, whatever.
24 was this past year, which was Garrett Nussmeier.
Okay, good God.
I was right. I'm just saying, I was right this time. Very often I'm wrong.
You're right. You're right. They beat him. They beat him his first year at Kyle Field. In his second year, they stunk. But he won the Heisman, didn't he?
No,
he won the Heisman his second year. Okay.
2020. Okay,
that's where the confusion is. Damn it! They won the SEC West his first year. His second year, he won the Heisman, but the team wasn't good.
All right, let's hit.
That's what it was. So, do they remind me? We're not going to hit a break now. Okay. This is not how we're going. This is like. We're not going out like this.
Okay, we're gonna finish on a high.
We're gonna finish on a high.
Okay.
I think I see the similarities. The 23 LSU team, but they did lose that first game of that season to Florida State, and A&M did beat Notre Dame. The historically bad LSU defense was the next year. The game against A&M at the end of the year with Devon Achane running wild was kind of a sign of things to come for what was coming. I don't think this defense...
You were right that they went to the SEC championship game in 22.
Then he won the Heisman.
And then he won the Heisman, yeah.
Okay. So, I think I see the similarities, but so take that team and turn the Florida State game from a loss to a win, and guess what? They're in a 4-team college football playoff. Now there's a 12-team playoff. I'm not. It would be silly to anoint A&M as this playoff. Like for us to sit here and go, they're going to go to the playoffs. They're going to play plenty of teams as good as Notre Dame. I'm convinced of that. Before the season, I would have said Notre Dame would be one of your top 3 teams you play. They still might be, or they might be one of the top 5 teams. They're going to play other teams that are on that team I watch on that level. Okay. But they beat one of them despite giving up a punt block for a touchdown, having a kickoff return for a touchdown callback, 13 penalties, and being on the road in that environment. And they still won. And with your quarterback playing hurt, by the way, and they still won that game. So that's fine. Line up similar teams. and here's the thing: if there's 5 toss-up games on the schedule that could kind of go either way, and I think there's still probably more. There might be 8. Let's just say though that there's 5 like true like coin flip style games. So maybe Florida doesn't become one of those because they go in the tank. Maybe there's another team or two. If there's 5 toss-up games and you go 3-2 in those 5, then Texas A&M's advancing. And now you've kind of got a tiebreaker if a Notre Dame were to go like 10-2, but you've also got a nice win, really nice win if they go 9-3 or better. Not to mention what it just looked like and felt like to the whole country. So now I think this team is they're positioned to. They should be in the conversation. If you have to have a week 3 conversation of playoff contenders, they should be in that. If you have to have a week 3 conversation of SEC title contenders, they have moved into that along with a handful of other teams. If you have to have a conversation about Heisman Trophy candidates, Marcel Reed's name should be included. If you go, I don't know what the cutoff number is where he should be, but he should be in that conversation now.
Top
just
7
based
guys,
on what they've
right?
done through 3 weeks of football.
Yeah.
Based on what these guys have done on the field through 3 weeks of football.
Right. When it comes to preserving your farm or your ranch's legacy, it's not just about capturing those pretty pictures. It's about telling stories and passing those stories down to the next generation. And that's what Heritage Films does. They do these documentaries for family businesses, family ranches, and of course, people in your family, your grandfather, your mother, whoever it may be. Let Chance and his team tell that story. And he tells the story, and it's so good. We did it with my father, who was at my house last night, 95 years old. Got to tell his story. We can tell so many different stories, and Chance is a wizard when it comes to that. He's discovered something that's very profound when it's about your business or your ranch. It's not just about blueprints. It's about building character for those future generations. And Farm and Ranch Films captures the wisdom your grandkids will need. Visit yourheritagefilm.com and click on the Farm and Ranch side of the website, or just call them up directly, 713-893-8341, to preserve not just your story, but your family's foundation.
Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance, for major repairs, or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
Let's talk. We only have a little bit here, Billy, because we ran the stop sign last segment. Let's talk about the Marcel clutch factor for a little bit. I'm sure we'll get back to it, but he has been clutch, and I was so happy to hear Elko talk about that. Something you've said on the show many times. Something I've talked about just his ability to lead this team down the field in those clutch moments and put them in positions to win a lot of games.
Telling you, man. Check the dude's pedigree in a short period of time, his track record. Just when you want to look at, like, what has he actually shown you in terms of, like, being level, being poised, being a winner, being not fazed by the moment.
Yeah.
You go all the way back to, like I've said a million times, his first start in the swamp. On the road in the swamp, hadn't started. It was a must-win game for A&M after losing to Notre Dame early. Go a couple weeks later, it's the fourth quarter in Jerry World. One guy made mistakes, Taylon Green. The other guy didn't, Marcel Reed. Helped them win that football game. When one mistake loses you the game, He's doing play-action passes on first down in the end zone down in the fourth quarter. From the 1 yard line. So then you go to, we mentioned Auburn, we mentioned USC. I mean, and now you see what he did in South Bend Saturday night. Like, he's just got that something to him that you can't coach. And he's not fazed by it. He's really not. And you can get better in a lot of different areas. Your understanding of the offense as you from a young quarterback to an older one, your feel for the game, you can improve as a passer, you can do all those things. But what I'm talking about and what he showed at the end of that game against Notre Dame, you can't coach. Then you just can't. And I think there's a big part of me that was like, when Bussey's return got called back, I thought it, and I know a lot of people probably thought it, like, it won't be a bad thing if you can drive down. Because I was looking at the clock going, if Notre Dame scores pretty quickly here, okay, A&M's got their timeouts. They should have time to come back even if they manage it. But you knew that would have been potentially trouble. But I think C.J. Carr in that moment, I would have had far less confidence in him, even though he was having a good game as a Notre Dame fan, to go all the way down the field without a mistake in that moment and with that kind of pressure, even if it's just taking a sack when he should have gotten rid of the football, whatever it may be, I would have way more confidence in Marcel Reed based on what I knew about Marcel and what he's shown throughout his career. So when the kick got called back, I genuinely thought Reed's going to lead them down the field to a touchdown. And you guys that know me, I don't always do that.
Right.
I can be like, man, this isn't good. They're going to have a hard time. Plenty of A&M offenses in game where they've gotten a situation where I'm like, they need a score, and I didn't feel confident they were going to do it. Obviously, on this, with Marcel in that game, the way it was going, knowing what I knew about him, how those two receivers were playing, how Le'Veon was running. Like, if they needed a short yardage conversion, I felt good. Everything I felt good about. And that most of that had to do with number 10 and his ability to lead them down the field.
Let's hit a break here. A moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. There's car buying, and then there's the Caldwell difference. They have a very strong and committed sales staff with decades of experience to the table. They complete customer satisfaction. Regardless of what kind of vehicle you're looking for, they're going to help you find what you're looking for at the right price. And many can't believe some of the pricing, but they're really all about relationship building there. And they offer complimentary pickup and delivery for all of their service customers because they know that your time is valuable. That is the Caldwell Country promise, and it's simple. They treat every customer like family, and everyone deserves the best. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com.
Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games. They're at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it.
And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Last couple minutes of the 9 o'clock hour. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Get some text messages in. Have Billy react to it. Ella?
Yeah, so one that I liked a lot, it was saying that Elko has done so well in targeting NIL additions for the Ags. He didn't go out and look to add like huge numbers of NIL transfers, but he sought out quality gems to add where was needed. And I think Elko displayed one of the best NIL efforts in the SEC.
Well, it goes back to what they've been talking about doing, right? Is yes, they're going to use the portal, but they do want to build from within and then add the pieces that they need there with using transfers.
Yeah, and he wrote NIL, but he meant more. I think he meant more portal because NIL, it was also interesting because A&M went so far in with retaining, player retention.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at portal and you watch that game the other night and you got Armajé Reed-Adams on the O-line. Coley came in and played the second half at center when he needed to. And so there's 40% of your O-line right there. And then at wide receiver, it goes without saying. I think the whole country now knows they got their money's worth in the portal. And again, went and got there were a lot of people that were much more worried about Nick Anderson, who I don't think has done crap at LSU, and they were much, much more worried about a certain receiver that went back to Texas Tech. Mm-hmm. And there a lot of crying about that. There was a lot of concern about Noah Thomas leaving, who's done next to nothing at Georgia, when Mario Craver came in, like, I know I sat there and talked that one up because, and again, this is file that crap away in your receipts. And by the way, we could do a whole show right now, me pulling up a lot of stuff. And in fact, I may have the people research it for a certain podcast that we'll be recording later tonight. But there's a lot that was said during the offseason that I was exactly right about. And there's a certain fan base I'm talking to when I say that. So you can all go to your little message boards and just say the words, Liucci was bleeping correct. And my dumb bleep was wrong. Just write that. That's all. It's fine. You'll feel better. One of the things I was talking about was Mario Craver and what an important addition he was because of that vertical speed, because of that quickness and acceleration. Did I think he would go put, what he say in his Instagram, 200 on him? Did I think he was going to go put 200 on him? No. I thought he was going to have a good year and be a real weapon for this offense because he brought something to this offense that it was lacking and needing. And that's how Mike Elko has recruited in the portal.
Yep.
Same with Casey Concepcion. Same with Nate Burkacher. Okay? Nyblack almost had himself like a 75-yard touchdown the other day. You'll see him become a playmaker. Scooby Williams, interception, portal edition a year ago.
Yep.
Cassius Howell, almost an interception, portal edition a year ago. Tyler Onyedim, I thought, had a really good game on the inside along with Hicks and Regis, portal. So, Des Ricks, Will Lee, the two starting corners, they got a ton of contribution in that victory via the portal. So Elko's known exactly what he's doing there.
We're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 3 of the show. Billy, who has the most impressive win in college football this season?
Oh, sorry, I just got an interesting follow.
Is it Florida State, potentially over Alabama? Is it A&M at Notre Dame? Is it maybe LSU's 2 victories against teams that maybe aren't as good as we thought they'd be? I'm just throwing out some.
That one I'd go like this with. Like, Clemson
there's glasses.
Sucks. Florida, bad. I have to think Florida's not as bad as they're playing, but they continue to show you that they are. LSU, to me, is like my ultimate. If I'm going through tiers in the SEC, I don't want to go through and name them all, but in LSU's tier would be tap the brakes tier.
Mm-hmm.
And they're up there. I in no world do I not think they're an SEC title contender. But I see people saying greatest defense LSU's ever had, which is insane. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I've heard best defense in the country, which I suppose that's possible, but watching them, I don't think it's that. I just think they're playing really bad offenses. I mean, yeah, if you'd have told me, hey, LSU's going to hold Clemson to 13 points or 10 points, whatever, I think it was 13. It was 10 or 13. I would have said, oh, wow, that's – but then I watched Clemson against Georgia Tech. I watched Clemson against Troy. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, no, they're not – that is not a good offense. And by any metric, by any standard, I don't care if Tom Brady or Lamar Jackson are running that offense. If that's the product, it's not good. You don't fear it. And obviously Florida, so LSU – I mean, you get 5 picks, so you want to say greatest defense. I saw those interceptions. Like, the 3 of us right here could have each gotten a pick in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lagway's just lobbing them up in the middle of the field. It just didn't even seem like there was a plan with what he was doing. It was terrible. I feel bad because I root for him individually probably as much as I do anyone not wearing maroon and white. And it's that bad. So, and they still only scored 20. That included a pick 6. So they had 4 other interceptions that they were able to only produce 13 points against Florida. And you say, well, that was still terrific defense. Well, it wasn't anything South Florida didn't do.
Yeah.
And they got their butts beat in by Miami. So so it's like Florida's offense is that bad. I do think maybe Florida's got, I think they do have a nice defense. That's something to, remember as we going to start giving them no chance in all these football games. Like A&M's got to play them. Texas has to go to the Swamp in a couple weeks. So I think write that team off at your own risk because they seem to be able to at least play quality teams really close. But LSU, I'm in a tap the brakes mode.
Oklahoma over Michigan.
I think that was a big one. But I would put A&M. So Oklahoma over Michigan's interesting because Oklahoma, I thought, physically kicked their asses.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a separate metric where I go, damn, they looked impressive. I don't think I think Notre Dame will beat Michigan head to head without question right now. But I mean, A&M and Notre Dame played an instant classic down to the final play. OU throttled Michigan. Florida State over Bama. The more Bama plays, the better that one looks. I would probably say Florida State, Bama 1, A&M Notre Dame 2. But here's something you're not factoring in. No, that's a hard one because look, you can say what you want, and Notre Dame's now ranked like 24th. Notre Dame lost 2 last-second games. Literally, whatever you want to say, but last play, essentially.
To top 10 teams.
Well,
now
Miami's ranked, 3?
Mm-hmm.
And A&M's number 10. So if A&M is the 10th ranked team in the country, and Miami's a 3rd, and Notre Dame lost to both of them essentially on the final play, and you're going to drop Notre Dame all the way almost out of the rankings, that's silly. And not only that, but Notre Dame also plays. Like, so if the Irish played Alabama Saturday, I think that's probably a really good football game.
Mm-hmm.
And because Bama's getting credit for beating bad teams right here, I would go Notre Dame on that one slightly. Now, with that said, A&M won theirs on the road at night. Florida State won at home. It's a difference. It's a huge difference. It's a huge swing. So
let me give you one more.
It's close.
Vandy's win over South Carolina. That was a beatdown.
Yeah, but it's not like those two. Because I think South Carolina sucks.
I agree,
and
but
I've
they were number 11, and it's Vandy.
Yeah, I know.
And it was at night in South Carolina.
It was like you're talking about different things here. Like that's the most impressive, like for Vandy. But I'm watching these teams play. I think South Carolina's.
I don't disagree.
I don't think they're good with Sellers. I think they're like. I was watching them the first couple of weeks going, that before the season, I thought they were 8-4, maybe a 9-3 or 9-3 kind of, now they got a lot of issues over there. And when he got hurt, even more issues. And Shane Beamer is quickly
whiny.
Oh my God!
By the way, I didn't think that play was
Brian
that bad.
Kelly and that assault by Brian Kelly.
To the
on the
reporter?
media.
Yeah.
I mean, the reporter was kind of being like,
we shouldn't ask that to start the.
Yeah,
but
you don't ask it right off the rip, but it was a legitimate question, and I'm of the opinion, and it's whatever. I mean, when the question is asked, it's going to get, but like they did just win an emotional game against an SEC rival. It wasn't a last second game, and. The defense was 10 out of 10, great in that game, and the offense stunk. You could just, if that's your question, this is me in like etiquette and just decency.
Ask it second.
You can just wait. You don't have to ask something else that you don't want to ask to pretend. Just let someone else fire off a question or two, but then come in. But here's the deal. I think Brian Kelly's reaction would have been the same because I think he's just a you-know-what and a real unlikable dude, to put it mildly. As far as Shane Beamer, I just think he's an incredibly high level whiner.
That play looked like a football play, by the way.
From that guy.
I know that it sucked that Norris got hurt. I didn't think it was an egregious, dirty play. It was just a football play.
No. And I didn't think the guy that hit Marcel was a dirty play. I just think he lowered his head in the heat of the moment. He was going to try to lay a hit on him, and hey, sorry about it, but that's targeting.
Just like Dalton Brooks last year.
Yeah, exactly. And they lost Dalton Brooks on like the second play. That was targeting. And oh, by the way, you also hurt the quarterback and knocked him out of the game for a play. And so, by the way, Marcel, that hit he took, down there on the goal line, like. Oh my God! When you're already hurt with an upper body injury and that hit was like, I was just like, gosh, how is he still? You go talk about the Jaden Daniels thing, and I hate making comparisons to like Heisman winners and number one picks and things like that with these A&M guys when they're young, other than to say, hey, his style of play reminds me of this, and I don't want that style of play to remind me of Jaden Daniels because that play did remind me of it, where it's just like, man, you're not big enough to be taking those kind of hits inside the 5-yard line. And by the way, I do think when Marcel, this off week could really help him. I think he could have run more against Notre Dame.
I do too.
I do. And he ran well when he did. I think he netted, 37, 38 yards. But I think there's going to be a game coming up where this dude runs for 100. Mark my words.
You kind of answered this without me asking it, but I'm going to ask it just because I think it'll be a good rant by you. More impressed so far with A&M's offense or LSU's defense?
Well, I kind of talked about LSU's defense.
Regardless, they're better than what people thought.
A&M's best. Yeah, both units are better than expected. But I think the folks in Baton Rouge that really knew were expecting their defense to be a lot better. And I talked about it. They were like bragging about all the portal stuff. But I think some people that cover this team were scared to go out there with this offense, and they were falling victim to the, oh, look at these clips of Marcel throwing the ball, and look at these clips of, Bussey's too big, and they were believing this stuff, and there was this period in fall camp where people were like giving up on the quarterback, the offense, the team, and it was weird. It was one of the dumber things, like, collectively, that I saw a group of people do since covering this football team. And they just refused to listen to anything that anyone else would say that had anything positive to it, which was Concepcion and Craver have looked elite since arriving here. This O-line is going to be much improved if they can stop false starting. The quarterback had made significant strides, and he was throwing the ball really well in camp. And again, if we weren't sitting here saying Marcel Reed's name should be in the Heisman, by God, he should be a first-team All-SEC. No one said that. All that was being said is this dude is getting better and better and better, and he's showing it in practice every day. And it's like no one wanted to believe it. Meanwhile, the folks in Baton Rouge were being sold this, and they were buying it, hand over fist. Both were right. I think when you look at Notre Dame's defense and what they did last year and the guys that they brought back, they lost a couple big ones, and Morrison and Watts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Xavier Watts.
That Notre Dame defense, coached by Freeman, and look, folks in South Bend are really pissed about Ash today. On Sunday at breakfast, I had people coming up to me, and they were not happy. They said last year, they were giving all the credit to A&M, but they were like, last year's defense, if you guys got the ball and took the field, like, we knew there was no way we weren't going to hold. And I get that. And they probably wouldn't have. I mean, they probably would have gotten a stop. That was an elite defense. I don't think this is, but I still think this is a really good defense. I think Notre Dame's defense is better than Clemson and Florida's offense, and it ain't close. Because those units are trash-ass bad, and Notre Dame's defense is good. I just don't think it's, in the conversation for best, and I don't think it will end up in the conversation for best in the country like they were last year.
So, okay. But on A&M's schedule, are they top 3 defenses that they'll face?
Maybe. I mean, certainly within the realm of possibility. I just don't, I don't know, like, what is Auburn's we'll learn more about Auburn's defense this weekend against Mateer. And I don't know, I don't think South Carolina's defense is going to be in there. If you'd have said, okay, yeah, they might be a top 3. If you'd have said top 4, I would say yes for sure. Like, it's one of the top 25%.
But we came into that game thinking that secondary was top 2 that they would face.
I think they're really good, and they got shredded.
They got shredded, yeah, exactly.
And they tried to cover Craver and Concepcion.
And they did a good job in the second half when they doubled up on Craver. Like,
when you double up,
that's what,
and it opened things up. And I mean, I thought they did a nice job of still finding yards and ways to move the football.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they weren't cutting through them like before, but like, what were their? How many drives did A&M score on in the second half? Was it 3 or 4? Maybe. They went from 24 to 41, 2 field goals. I tell you, it was four drives. 4 drives they scored on, right?
They scored once in the third, and they scored
2 field goals and 2 touchdowns, correct?
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, 4 of your drives in the second half when Notre Dame made their adjustments. I thought A&M's adjustments were good. The Aggie defense it's really interesting to me. Like,
I saw good defense, and I also saw bad defense.
Yeah. I thought they made more good plays against Notre Dame and Jeremiah Love and Jadari Price and a really talented tight end and some solid receivers. Faison, Greathouse. Did he catch one, Pat? What was his numbers?
Faison?
No, Greathouse.
Greathouse did catch one. Yeah, he had 2 catches for 41 yards.
Yeah, so Greathouse. And they have some, like, that's a what I would call if they were in the SEC, I'd say like it's a decent receiving core. That might be the best tailback tandem in the SEC if they came in here.
Yeah.
Their O-line was massive. I mean, those dudes, that did concern me when they're lining up early in the game and Notre Dame had the ball, and I'm sitting there going, golly, like, their offensive line was towering. And I know, like, the Aggies are too, their O-line.
Yeah.
But Notre Dame's O-line standing there in front of A&M's front seven, it was a huge difference. And I thought, guys like York and a couple of, like, the edge guys, they had a hard time. They were kind of getting swallowed up a lot. Cassius Howell made some things happen, but where I thought the Aggies excelled were those three inside guys kicked ass.
Well, can I give you this stat? Because I don't think it's been discussed.
On Yedem, Hicks, and Regis, for three interior guys to have 18 combined tackles and like 4 tackles for loss, they were really productive, and I thought they were kind of what set the tone for how A&M won more of those rushing downs than they lost. It's just, they didn't. I thought the safeties early in the game were screwing up, and I think that's exactly what Elko was yelling about when he threw the chair. I think that's I'm 100% certain it had to do with safeties coming downhill and getting outside of blocks instead of taking them on, and they were creating these massive holes.
Yeah,
and I think that's exactly why early in the game he lost his marbles on that chair. And look, I thought Ratcliffe and Brooks in particular played a lot better moving forward. But they scare you, man, because they had busts in the secondary again. Like Scooby just doesn't even run with. I had a buddy text me
on the wheel route.
Scooby got his eyes caught in the backfield. I go, what the hell does that mean? If his eyes were caught in the backfield, he would have seen their best player come out of the backfield. So we just see too much of that by veteran guys on the defense. Will Lee, he made a couple. He saved 4 points with that third down pass breakup in the end zone, but they win at him again. There were too many easy throws for a young, inexperienced QB like C.J. Carr.
Well, and Rick's looked pretty good, but I want to read you this stat because I don't think it's been discussed. You got 8 tackles for loss for A&M.
Yep.
And only 2 for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
8 tackles for loss. By the way, part of that was on Yedem that we talked about. He had half one, and Regis had 1.
Yeah.
Damian Sanford had 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought Sanford did a good job coming off the bench. Obviously, really important rep. Him and Coley both are 2 guys like in game. They come off the bench and play well. You win with those guys out there. So those 2 in particular have to go walk away feeling really good about their contribution Saturday night. So, but yeah, man, I thought 8 tackles for loss. They had 2 fourth down stops. One was kind of on Notre Dame. That whole wonky, they snapped it right before. The other one was just a beautiful defensive play by a couple of A&M defenders there on 4th and 1. You give it to arguably the best running back in the country, and they just eat him up. Yeah, Hicks was in the backfield some. Cassius Howell had a nice, I don't know if it was TFL or it was right at the line of scrimmage, but yeah, 8 tackles for loss for 2 for Notre Dame. Both lines of scrimmage, so you go, okay, what'd you do? You basically pushed with them in the running game, and that's their bread and butter. That's what they're known for. They ran for 136. A&M ran for 129. The Aggies averaged significantly more per carry, like a half yard more per carry. Now, C.J. Carr got sacked a couple times, so take that out.
Yeah.
What the tailbacks did was about dead even. Le'Veon Moss was 20 for 81, by the way, with 3 touchdowns. One where he just smooth ran over. I think he gave that Notre Dame defender whiplash on the goal line, number 9. And then Jeremiah Love had, 23 for 94, and he had about 50-plus receiving. The running backs, so you essentially pushed, and let's just call it the run game. If you said grade it, that's a push.
I agree.
That's a win for Texas A&M. If we went into that game and said, hey, the Aggies are going to run it as well as Notre Dame.
That's a win.
It's a win. And then no sacks allowed for A&M. And if I told you that Reed wasn't going to get sacked once, you got to Carr twice. And the A&M defensive line in the front 7 and DBs, whoever Elko was bringing, to make 8 plays behind the line of scrimmage against these guys. And that Aggie offensive line only allowed 2. Now, if I was in that building grading the A&M line, I would say, no, you didn't give up 2 TFLs. You gave up 8 of them, including
Because of the penalties?
including the 6 false starts or whatever. I don't know what it was. Plus a holding. I don't know if the hold was, but whatever it was, 6, 7 penalties. Those would count as tackles for loss. So that would be my teaching point to say that ain't good enough, and that will get you beat. But when the ball was snapped, physically, those guys kept Notre Dame from doing virtually anything behind the line of scrimmage. And that was what the Irish did to the Aggies here at Kyle Field last year.
We'll hit a break right now. We're talking about Paragon Financial Advisors. When it comes to your money, your peace of mind starts with the right team. And Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors is a firm that's serving clients across Texas. No commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you. With 18 professionals, including over 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA, their expertise runs deep. At Paragon, credentials do matter, and so does your future. Visit Paragon-ADV or call them up directly, 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors. Integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors.
I was. Go ahead.
We're on the air. I do want to give a shout out to Mike and Maureen, OB's friends. They go to Notre Dame. We went to their tailgate when we got there. It was awesome. They couldn't have been more kind.
Nice.
They gave us, friendly ribbing. A&M won, by the way. I don't know if they know that. But it was awesome. They were wonderful. So thank you to OB and his friends for making that happen.
They all tailgated.
We did. We partied hard, bro.
Keg stands.
There might have been one or two.
Beer bongs.
They offered me a soda, and I passed.
Take a gummy while you were there.
I actually had fried chicken there. It was really good.
That's your equivalent.
For me, that's
that's drugs.
Yeah.
Nuño got wild.
I did. Hey, we were out till 3:30 in the morning on Saturday night.
You were working.
Oh yeah,
driving.
That's right.
To
That's
Chicago.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's part of it.
I would say yesterday I did that thing with you, and you remember that karaoke, that bag karaoke?
Yes.
I walked through that parking lot, and I won't go long on this because we talked about it on me and Zane did, but there's a pod of people just singing Adele just in the empty parking lot, just this one like large tailgate of like maybe there's like 20 people still straggling there, but it's the only vehicle there, and they got Adele blaring Someone Like You. And they're all singing it. I heard that you settled that. Like the saddest music. And I'm like, you know what? We've been there as Aggies. We've been there. I don't think we'd have probably been singing like David Allen Coe or something. But Notre Dame, they sing Adele apparently. But it was just like, just sad tunes and drunk and last ones in the parking lot. And let's do a sing along to this breakup song because our team lost. It was pretty pathetic, but I felt it. I understood. I was like, I know. Trust me. Like
that might have been the loudest karaoke I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. One Notre Dame fan said it pretty. He was pretty funny when he said when A&M got the ball at the end, like. Notre Dame fans, like after that, he was like, after we botched that extra point, like it felt like no one in the stadium, Fighting Irish, Aggies, like no one thought their team was going to win.
Right.
Like, because both sides have been, even though Notre Dame, like we don't follow them as much, but like, they've won 100 national titles. They haven't won one since '88. And they've played for 2 since then. One, they knew they were going to get throttled by Bama. The other one, they kind of knew they were going to get throttled by Georgia and played them better than they thought. But Notre Dame, recent years they've cycled through. They've experienced plenty of misery and heartache as well. So they were like, it felt like no one in the stadium thought their team was going to win. It was it's pretty accurate just based on recent history. But look, for A&M, David, this is a game. Right? It's whatever you want to call it. It gives you a margin for error. It gives you a leg up. It's a huge step towards 9. It's a huge step towards 10 in a playoff. It's a huge, but really what it is, it's one game out of the 9 that you play that matter, and you're 1-0 in those 9. And Bronny came in here and he was like, I didn't see anything from A&M that would like guarantee me that they're going to beat Auburn and I was like, or even Mississippi State. Like, don't forget that.
But that's the SEC as well.
I saw stuff from Florida and from South Carolina that made me feel a lot better about what A&M was going to do there. I mean, I thought, now here goes Mississippi State and Arkansas and Missouri. Those ones all look tougher. But I'm not going to sit here and say I don't think A&M can win those. We know they can. But this was a huge one to get. At the end of the year, whatever that final record is, you're going to need this one, and you're going to be thanking your lucky stars you beat them. But it's also, it gives you a better chance to win other games for multiple reasons. Confidence in that locker room when they get in that moment again. Just a growing confidence within the program. Like, we're really good now. So they go into a bye week going, maybe today they're flying high. Maybe they went out and enjoyed themselves last night because they couldn't Saturday. But, like, as you get into this week now, it's like, okay, like, we're really good. We have a chance to play for something. And coach can say that all they want, but until the players start believing it based on results. So when you talk about like culture, it is important to win a game like that at the end, so you know you can draw on that next time, and you are not just a few players, but the whole team's like, yeah, we got this. But there's also a culture of just like, it's got to build and grow, and not just year to year, but within a season, confidence grows. Like right now, what's going on in Austin, they're fine. They lost one game to Ohio State, but that vibe and energy down there is very negative right now. Everyone I know my actual Texas friends, they know that. They understand that. They're worried about that. It doesn't mean they can't get out of it. And the common sense people realize that. But you're head in the sand if you don't recognize it. Mm-hmm. And we've been there too. We understand. Like it's. We were told, though, that they would never be there this year. We were laughed at, ridiculed, mocked, scoffed, and which is fun because that's why I do it, for these moments where I can say, I told you so. And I don't even think they're going to suck like their own fans do. I think they're going to end up being good. But with that said, right now, their vibe and energy is low. This is the stuff, if you're A&M, you build on. You continue to grow. And right now, their chances of beating Auburn, we can take that Longhorn schedule down now. It's been up there a while. Their chances of beating Auburn went up because they beat Notre Dame. Yeah. So it's not just one game. It's not just, okay, and there's a W instead of an L. Now you get a bye week. You get to, I think they should have a great week of practice to prep for Auburn. If they don't, something's wrong. So your chances of winning that one, your home field advantage. Imagine it with a loss versus Notre Dame versus a win and being number 8, 9, 10 in the country next week when Auburn comes in here. Now think of the environment that Auburn has to face. And then that just builds. Okay, and also, oh, by the way, you know what you did Saturday night? We don't talk about it. You went and won on the road. So when you go to Arkansas, when you go to LSU, especially in Fayetteville and Austin, you've done it. You've been in an intense environment in the fourth quarter with the crowd going nuts, and you've won the game.
To the break. When we come back, I do want to ask you what questions were answered about A&M that we had going into the Notre Dame game. Daily Company, family-owned, licensed, and insured business that offers HVAC, electrical, and plumbing, plus generator services that's available to you 24/7, 365. When it comes to their generators, they can fix them. They can make sure that they're installed to prepare for power outages. They got the electrical wiring and the outlet repairs, the upgrades for safety and efficiency. If you have any issues with your plumbing, they'll take care of those leak repairs, the clogged drains, the water heater installation, maintenance to keep those pipes in top shape, and thermostat repairs, refrigerant leaks, furnace failures, and seasonal tune-ups. They serve College Station, Bryan, Houston, and Austin. Upfront pricing with no surprises. Contact the Daily Company at 979 Billy, earlier we talked about, the most impressive win this year. One that I didn't mention, I think we have to mention. I think Georgia's comeback against Tennessee was impressive. It's Georgia, so you kind of expect it. But that Tennessee team's pretty good, man. That is definitely better than I thought they were going to be this year so far.
I think A&M and Tennessee and Vandy are three teams because remember OU was getting a lot of hype.
Yep.
I'm thinking of teams that LSU is getting a lot of hype. Mississippi State, I think, looks really good. But the three that stand out to me that they look a lot better than we were told they were going to look by the national people and the SEC people are Tennessee, Vandy, and A&M.
Yep.
In no particular order. But, Tennessee, what a heartbreaking loss. We were watching that. And to give up that catch on fourth down, the game's over. It's a spectacular catch, perfect throw by a quarterback that I've not been real impressed with. And he gets a ton of credit this weekend, Gunnar Stockton.
What a pass.
If you told me, hey, they were going to have to win a shootout, I would say no way. And that dude, he did it, And look, as I'm doing that with A&M, if I'm the Texas Longhorns this weekend and I go and I watch Georgia, and then I watched Oklahoma last week, and I watched Georgia Saturday, and I watched A&M Saturday night, and I watched Vandy Saturday night. I think their schedule is getting significantly
harder than they
more
expected.
Difficult.
Yep.
So, but what a great throw by Stockton! What a great, amazing catch over that back shoulder like that. I mean, he did it like this, which is wild to do, and still getting bounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then the missed field goal, obviously. I mean, it's just Heupel's. Heupel's
really
a really
good, man.
Coach. He's a really good coach. Tennessee's going to be formidable. I haven't checked their schedule, who they've got on there, but I know they'll have. I'm trying to think of who they played last season. They'll have Bama.
Nick can put it up for us.
Yeah, pull it up. They'll have Bama. They'll have Vandy. They have Florida. They have.
Who do you need?
Tennessee, please.
They have Vandy, Florida, Bama. Somebody who else there?
UAB at Mississippi State.
OU.
Yeah. At Florida, I mean, at that point, who knows what that Florida team is like? Vandy to close out.
Arkansas. Tennessee at Mississippi State might be a fun one in a couple weeks.
Arkansas can score.
Yeah, I think OU, Florida, Bama, those will be they got in Vandy. I mean, they got 4 or 5 that they're going to have to be dialed in on. And again, you've got one loss, so you kind of they kind of got to lose one more the rest of the way. I mean, somebody's getting in, I'm convinced. Somebody from the SEC is getting in with 3 losses this season, but you don't want to be the team trying to do it. Because then you're in the mix with other teams. You're in the mix probably with multiple SEC teams. So, I mean, when I'm looking at these schedules, I'm like, what happens to knock you out at 10-2? And that's why that A&M win over Notre Dame was so important. Because you imagine if they'd have lost that game, then you're looking and you're going, damn, look at this schedule.
Still got to go to Baton Rouge. Got to go to Austin.
They got to go X-2 just to finish 9-3.
And by the way, that Missouri game
against 8 other, you got to go 6-2 in the SEC just to get to 9-3. And yeah, for A&M, talk about Texas and Tennessee. I said it a minute ago. Missouri looks so much tougher. Mississippi State, Missouri's number 1 on the list of teams you're playing that looks so much tougher.
Ahmad Hardy is a player, man.
Yeah, and Pribula, like that. You go from. By the way, what was Hardy doing?
The fishing dance?
In Louisiana, playing in directional Louisiana for as long as he was. Like, come on, how was he not plucked sooner? But I mean, to me, Arkansas looks tougher just because of how they can score.
Offense, yeah.
And again, it's that offense against the A&M defense. So we got to see more from the A&M defense, or Petrino and Taylor Green are going to carve that up. So hopefully Arkansas's got – so here's how this sets up. Auburn's got a road trip to
Oklahoma.
To Oklahoma the week before they come to Kyle Field, and A&M's on a bye. Mississippi State has Tennessee the week before, and then they got to make the trip to Kyle. Florida's got, it's well documented. They go from loss to South Florida, loss to LSU. They got Miami. They got Texas. That's all what they've got before coming in. And then when you play Arkansas, I believe the Razorbacks play, before they play A&M, they've still got Notre Dame. Who else?
Tennessee.
They got Tennessee and Notre Dame.
And I think this Memphis game this weekend might be tough.
Wait, what's their? Yeah, Memphis, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Arkansas. And they needed that Ole Miss win. And credit that guy might have been the most impressive quarterback this weekend, including Marcel.
He looked better than Austin Simmons.
Might have been them pulling a back up. Yeah, I think they've got a QB I don't even think it's a controversy. I think you play this guy. But with that said, it sets up where these teams should be coming into play A&M after losses, and in some instances, multiple losses in a row. The Aggies need to capitalize and take advantage of that situation. When you have teams coming to your place after losing football games. And by the way, I'm not guaranteeing Auburn's going to lose to OU. I think I pick OU at home in that one, but I think Auburn's pretty good. I'll be interested to see. Jackson Arnold is not getting the ball to their receivers enough.
He's running more.
And I don't know how that flies against that OU defense.
Yeah.
I worry about how it flies. It might be more successful against A&M at Kyle, but yeah, I'll be fascinated. I want to see this Auburn defense, Nuño against Mateer and the Sooner offense.
Yeah.
That to me is going to be what I'm locked in on most of all, to see how it plays when the Aggies and War Eagle take the field in a couple weeks.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll get to that question. What questions were answered? Right now, Milliken Reserve, farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. They're dedicated to the conservation of a healthy community, respect for the native landscape and the wildlife, with 2,600 acres of open space, 30 miles of trails, and beautiful homes there. Speaking of those trails, they're throughout a wooded landscape that includes walking and equestrian paths, creeks and ponds and gathering areas, and they're committed to maintaining and restoring that beautiful natural habitat. Homeowners of Milliken Reserve share in a legacy of conservation, which means generation after generation, you're coming back to that pristine countryside place. Go check out the website, millikenreserve.com. That website, again, is millikenreserve.com. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner.
You disagree?
Rollo Insurance Studio.
Oh, I thought.
Hey guys,
Sorry, we're having
I'm just
side,
tennis match.
side conversation.
So, what questions were answered about A&M that you feel confident about? Like, all right, I know the offense is this. We can run the ball against good teams. Like,
I think that's well. I didn't have a question about Concepcion and Craver, and I said that a million times. Like, we've seen them do it. They're not like freshmen that hadn't. Like, Ashton Bethel Roman still has to show it against, and I think he will, but he has to show it against like real opposition. And I think again, as these guys start, he's out there for plays. He's got, and when teams start really focusing on, and they already are, but focusing on, Craver and Concepcion, 1 and 7, then 2 and 3 are going to get opportunities. And you're seeing Bussy, who low key had made some really important plays in that game and would have made the biggest play were it not called back. But those guys are going to get more opportunities. But these two had shown it and proven it. So that wasn't a question. I wanted to see A&M run the ball against a higher end defense. And whether Notre Dame's the best defense they're going to play or the third best or the fifth best, I wanted to see A&M. I know they're a quality defense, and I know they're a high-level defense. And I wanted to see A&M run the football against them, and they did with some success. They didn't gash them. They did with some success. And I think had it not been for so many false start penalties, I mean, look, you had a holding on the first drive, so you're like 1st and 20. You had an X number of false start penalties. I think they would have run for even more. But you take them out. Yeah, you can run on 1st and 15, and you can have a healthy run on 1st and 15 and be in 2nd and 11, and now you're throwing. So they lost running downs because of offensive penalties, and that's on the O-line. It factors in. Like if we were grading that position, it takes away from the grade. But when it came to blocking Notre Dame defenders, I thought the O-line did a really good job. And I thought Le'Veon, I mean, look, here's what we wanted to know. How does that guy do with the workload?
Yeah.
3 carries in the first game. Was it 10 in the second game? And now 20 against a real team in a really physical football game. And guess what? Number 8 looked just about as good as Love did on the other side, as Ford did on the other side. And he didn't make those pass game plays, but Le'Veon Moss in that A&M ground game, because we didn't see him do it against South Carolina, other than the one long run by Amari in that one, and we didn't see him do it against Texas. So I wanted to see how do they line, and then we didn't see him do it against Notre Dame last year. So I wanted to see how they line up and run the football against a team that's determined not to let them, and we saw it. That was my biggest question answered. My other one was on the defense. And again, I'm pretty concerned. Like plays like that right there. You just saw it if you're watching on TV and not listening on radio. I think it was Faison, and it wasn't even him, I don't think. But it was a short pass on maybe it was 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. And he caught it at 4 or 5 yards. And I think it might have been on that play. It was Chappelle over pursued. Cuts back, and he gets the first down. It's third down defense a little bit. It's holes in the secondary, linebackers and DBs included. But I think there was a little bit answered. And here's what I wanted to say. Right? Will we see them play better and more physical?
Yep. And
more confident and aggressive against a real team, because we hadn't seen that defense against anybody real yet. And I was answered in the positive. I saw physicality. I saw negative plays created. I saw kind of key stops at key moments. But I do want to say this. They're going to play way better quarterbacks. They're going to play much better quarterbacks this year than C.J. Carr. And they're going to play teams with receivers that are a lot better than the guys that Notre Dame had out there. So, Carr impressed me with some of his throws and kind of he was pretty level throughout that game. think he's going to be good. And their receivers aren't bad, but like you look at what Auburn's going to trot out there. You look at, even though Sellers has been a rough, like what South Carolina puts out there, Texas, even though again, like Arch and Sellers and Lagway have been struggling, but just talent-wise, they're going to see. I think you go look at Shapen and Edwards and Thompson at Mississippi State. Like they're going to see teams that can throw and attack, and if you're weak in the back seven, they're going to carve you up.
Got to drop it right there. By the way, A&M was penalized for 86 yards on 13 penalties. Notre Dame, 5 penalties for 31 yards. So if you want to complain about it, there's that.
Yeah, but I think, again, they overcame, so they should get better.
See you tomorrow.